Thousands of fans are converging on Rogers Stadium this evening as Coldplay set to perform the first of 4 concerts. This is a live look from the CTV News chopper over Downsview Park. Good evening. The show comes as management for Rogers Stadium says it's made adjustments following the venue's first concert last Sunday.
After that show, some fans claimed it took as long as 2 hours to exit the area. Meanwhile, those who live nearby have expressed concerns about traffic. CTV's Raheem Ladani has been speaking with residents and concert goers, and he joins us now with more. Raheem.
Michelle and Nathan, good evening. We've been watching thousands of fans enter the stadium since the gates first opened at around 4 p.m. Now, other than some confusion in terms of how to actually enter through the gate entrances, everything has been quite cordial and civilized. However, there are still a lot of concerns when it comes to traffic management flow in and around the area surrounding the arena, and also the unknown about how is everyone going to get home safely once the concert is over. Lining up more than 9 hours before the gates even open, these dedicated Coldplay fans are dressed up, have traveled from around the world.
We are from Guadalajara, Mexico.
And first in line, hoping to get the perfect view of their favorite band.
We got the umbrella, we got water, snacks, washroom-wise, we did the business in the morning.
Coldplay is set to play the first of 4 shows at the new Rogers Stadium near Downsview Park in Toronto's North End. It's the venue's second concert after the inaugural show ended in chaos. Last week, people waited up to 2 hours trying to leave the stadium as 50,000 concert goers searched for nearby subway and GO train stations, overwhelming transit.
People were fainting or falling down.
Concert promoter Live Nation Canada says, "We've made key adjustments based on fan and community feedback, including updated traffic plans with road closures, more traffic personnel on site, and enhanced signage and communication to help improve the experience for fans and the community." However, area residents say they've been left in the dark.
They're closing pretty much the main artery of our entry and exit for this neighborhood, and without any communication to us at all.
This open-air stadium is the largest purpose-built outdoor concert venue in Toronto. However, it will eventually be torn down to make way for mixed-use developments. While it is temporary, it will first play host to major acts for several more years.
It's a concert whether you want it or not. Every week, every summer for the next 5 years. How is this fair to anybody?
As Coldplay sings, lights will guide you home. Concert goers and area residents hope that guidance doesn't come with gridlock. Now, these are the road restrictions in place during the Coldplay concert dates. Shepherd Avenue West will be closed later tonight between Allen and Keele, while Wilson Avenue has already been reduced to 1 lane between Dufferin Street and Murray Road, and Carl Hall Road is closed between John Drury Road and Chesswood Drive. Also of note, Toronto police tell me they will be on scene and have paid duty officers here for the concert. However, they are not the ones in charge of the traffic management plan. Reporting live, I'm Raheem Ladani. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Raheem. Still to come, Premier Doug Ford signed a memorandum of understanding with Alberta's Premier today. A breakdown on the effort to break down trade barriers a little later in the newscast.
Toronto police have identified the teenage boy murdered over the weekend. 14-year-old Abdul Aziz Sarr was fatally stabbed at a McDonald's location in the area of Eastern Avenue and Woodward Avenue. Police got the call just after 10 p.m. on Saturday. The teen was taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries where he later died. So far, police have not released any details about possible suspects.
And police have released images of a suspect wanted in connection with the stabbing in June. Police are searching for this woman. She's accused of stabbing a man aboard a streetcar near Queen and Peter Street on Friday, June 20th. The man was taken to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Police say the victim and suspect don't know each other, and they're asking anyone with information to come forward.
A 36-year-old man is facing a number of charges, including impaired driving, after a pedestrian and several parked vehicles were struck last night.
6 people, including the pedestrian, were taken to hospital as a result. CTV's Sean Leathon has been following the investigation and joins us live with more. Sean.
Well, Nathan and Michelle, there was a large gathering in the area where I'm standing last night. It was at about 9:15 where there were people outside here, and a car was said to have come speeding into this area, crashing into those parked cars and one pedestrian. Chaos and confusion in the aftermath of a collision involving multiple vehicles. A pedestrian struck, and eyewitnesses saying one driver, seen here in a black car, came speeding into the area, police alleging he was impaired.
I heard some banging sound, and we were sitting right there.
60 zone, and this guy was doing about 140.
This loud bang that just continued on. The car came on Passmore Avenue and then hit multiple cars along the way. And the debris, you can still see the debris are still sitting over there.
It was just after 9:15 on Sunday evening when, according to police, the driver of a black Acura was moving westbound on Passmore Avenue in Scarborough towards Middlefield Road. The vehicle slamming into several others and one woman.
And then ran across the curb, jumped on top of the curb, and hit multiple cars on that direction too. Then he fled on foot.
Witnesses described the driver as having been disoriented with blood on his shirt before taking off. Police apprehended the man in a nearby park. Syed Abbas was back at the scene today trying to fix the tire damage on his car. He says at the time of the crash, the area was busy with a number of Shiite Muslims observing Ashura. But he says earlier in the day, thousands were here and the streets were packed.
It could have been a lot worse. It could have been because, you know what, if we were just a couple of hours early, I couldn't even imagine because there was just people walking everywhere over here.
In total, 10 vehicles were directly or indirectly involved. 6 people were treated for non-life-threatening injuries, including a 45-year-old female pedestrian who was struck by the car.
You know, I was in shock for that 30 seconds, didn't even know what was going on. I was concerned about the well-being of my kid, who was walking on the grass.
In the aftermath, a tire from the Acura lay on the road, debris scattered across several meters while police investigated. 36-year-old Kareem Muhammad of Markham is facing charges of dangerous operation of a motor vehicle while impaired, 2 counts of fail to stop at the scene of an accident, and possession of a weapon. And Kareem Muhammad did appear in court today, his matter being put over to bail court tomorrow. Reporting live, I'm Sean Ethong. Michelle, send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. One person is in critical condition following a crash on the 407 this morning. Police say a car rear-ended a transport truck in the eastbound lanes near Mississauga Road just before 5 a.m. The driver of the vehicle was taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries, while the driver of the truck was not injured. The highway was closed for several hours for the investigation, but has since reopened.
Meanwhile, the transport truck driver suffered minor injuries after their vehicle rolled over in Brampton. It happened just before 10 a.m. near Torbram and Steeles. No other vehicles were involved.
And 6 people are in hospital with injuries ranging from serious to life-threatening following a head-on collision in Bewdley, Ontario, about 16 kilometers north of Port Perry. OPP say 2 vehicles collided around 5:30 a.m. on County Road 28. Both drivers and 4 passengers were airlifted to several trauma centers. The cause of this crash is still under investigation.
And a driver has been arrested after a pedestrian was struck by a vehicle in the city's East End. It happened at around 3:30 this morning near Main and Gerrard. The victim, a man, was taken to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Police say the driver involved originally left the scene but returned and was taken into custody. So far, there's been no word on charges.
Toronto police handed out thousands of tickets during an 11-day blitz last month, targeting people who block lanes during rush hour. Between June 16th and June 27th, more than 3,000 tickets were issued and 200 vehicles were towed for violating no stopping zone rules. The campaign focused on high-traffic areas downtown between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Police say the goal was to remind drivers about the importance of keeping traffic flowing. A second blitz is set for September. The TDSB is among 4 school boards the Ford government is taking control of, citing cases of financial mismanagement.
Today, a local group expressed their concerns about the province's decision. CTV's John Musselman has been following this story and joins us live with more. John.
Well, Nathan, their concerns are that the province taking over these boards will only hurt students and teachers and parents. But the education minister is saying that the trustees at these 4 boards just aren't getting the job done. A small group of parents, teachers, and union representatives gathered outside Monarch Park Collegiate today near Danforth and Coxwell to denounce the provincial government's recent decision to take control of 4 school boards across the province.
We have 22 school board trustees that dedicate their lives to their schools. They know their school communities.
This is an attack just on public education, but also on local democracy. And teachers know what are happening in schools. We teachers are the ones managing growing class sizes, coping with staffing shortages.
Last month, Education Minister Paul Calandra said the boards failed in their responsibility to parents and students by losing sight of their core mission. The 4 boards identified are the Toronto District School Board, Toronto Catholic Board, Dufferin-Peel Catholic Board, and the Ottawa-Carleton District School Board. The minister says supervisors will be assigned to address alleged misspending. Quote, third-party investigators confirmed what parents already see. These boards have been incapable of managing the historic education funding that we continue to provide. That's why we've stepped in. We are restoring accountability in Ontario's education system and putting all trustees on notice. Focus on your mandate or step aside. But critics claim this is a ploy by the government to deflect from what they say is chronic underfunding of the education system. The Toronto and York Region Labour Council claims currently 40% of school boards are grappling with a deficit, with $6.3 billion effectively cut from the system since 2018.
Putting the province in a position to make the cuts to education they've wanted to make for a long time, and pushing the trustees out of the way because they, in fact, have been fighting very hard to defend children and families.
The province has previously announced a record $30.3 billion in funding for schools next year. And in his statement, the education minister said he is willing to listen to parents and students to make the situation better, but he's not interested in hearing the opinions of the trustees in these 4 boards that haven't been getting it done. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. The Blue Jays will be looking for their 9th straight win tonight when they begin a series with the Chicago White Sox.
The team's recent hot streak has vaulted them into first place in the AL East and has fans feeling really good about playoff odds. CTV's Mike Walker has been speaking with fans and joins us now live with more. Mike.
Well, Michelle and Nathan, the last time the Blue Jays had sole possession of first place in the AL East was nearly a decade ago, and they could extend that winning streak to 9 games against Chicago, who is one of the worst teams in baseball. And fans we've been speaking with are surprised by this turnaround given the slow start to the season the Jays had.
The Toronto Blue Jays continue to dominate on the diamond, extending their winning streak to 8 games and their first place lead in the AL East.
Fantastic. They finally started hitting to go along with the pitching. The bullpen looks good.
The Blue Jays capped off a 7-game homestand, sweeping the Angels and division rivals New York Yankees. After a slow start to the season, many fans stocking up on Blue Jays gear say they are surprised by this turnaround.
This team, we haven't been expected to win. They're certainly playing well above their heads.
I thought it was going to be similar to last year, right, where they just weren't producing. But this year they seem to be doing, especially with the injuries they've had.
This father and son attended the series against the Angels.
We got some young blood coming up through. It's a promising mid-season form.
With just 6 games until the All-Star break, the Jays currently have 52 wins. 1 win shy of the team record before the break. The Jays pulled off 53 wins in 1985 and 1992.
Nixon bunts.
The latter,
throws to first.
The first of back-to-back World Series championships, something Jays fans are reminiscing about.
I'm old enough to remember the 92-93 teams and how great a ride that was. This is another one of those years that could be magical.
Very different teams. So the 92 and 93 teams were full of superstars and guys that ended up being Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Hey, it'd be great if this group has a few of those guys as well.
Last year, the Blue Jays had a losing record at home. This year, they're 32-16.
TSN's Matt Cause attributes the success to a rebound season for players like George Springer and Bo Bichette, while others are stepping up in place of Andres Jimenez, Anthony Santander, and Dalton Varsho, who are all out with injuries.
The veteran players playing better and are healthy, and young guys doing more than we expected.
The club record for the longest winning streak is 11 games, something the Jays have achieved on 5 occasions, but haven't pulled off since August 2015. But while riding the current wave of success, fans are looking beyond this winning streak
going to be a lot of fun to see. We hope so. I think they're going to have to do some work around their pitching staff.
Have to beat the teams in your division, especially in this case where, there's no real strong team running away with it.
For now, fans can only hope the momentum will continue.
And George Springer, who has contributed to the Blue Jays' recent success with 5 home runs and 13 RBIs, has been named the American League Player of the Week. Reporting live, I'm Mike Walker. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. And from Rogers Center to the brand new Rogers Stadium. Yep, we're into the second week of July, and there's plenty of heat and humidity on tap, but we are out of the heat warning territory that we experienced over the weekend. I think all the fans heading to the first of 4 Coldplay concerts tonight will enjoy the conditions out there this evening, and people are filing in now as some of the first acts are set to take the stage this very hour. So let's bring up the satellite radar, and you'll see just a little bit of cloud cover. All the wet stuff is getting out of frame here, so a lot to like this evening weather-wise. And there is a bit of a breeze, not too bad at all, and the winds should lessen as we get further into the evening. Right now, across the region, there is humidity. So 25 in Hamilton, feeling like 33, 23 in Windsor, feeling like 29 degrees. Currently at the Toronto Islands, a lot more sun over there, but it does feel like 33 degrees at this hour. Pearson Airport, more cloud building in, but 32 degrees with the humidity. And tonight, looking around 20 degrees, but it's going to feel closer to 30 with that humidity. So certainly no need for a jacket or anything. And we have some nice days ahead this week. We'll break down your full forecast a little later in the newscast.
Mayor Olivia Chow continued her trade mission to Ireland today. Chow met with Dennis King, Canada's ambassador to Ireland, in Dublin this morning. After that, she met with business leaders from Enterprise Ireland and IDA Ireland. She promoted Toronto as a trade and investment partner. Chow and members of the city's film industry will also meet with Irish film and TV studios. Following her visit to Ireland, the mayor will head to London next. Meanwhile, Ontario's premier was in Alberta signing a memorandum to boost trade and cooperation.
But as more interprovincial trade barriers come down, there is some skepticism about whether these agreements are the answer. CTV's Rachel Aiello reports.
Free trade being one within all the provinces that will add over $200 billion to our economy.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford touting the potential of Canada-wide free trade after signing new agreements with Alberta to advance energy infrastructure and support the automotive and alcohol manufacturing sectors.
Today's signing marks an historic partnership founded in a mutual ambition to reach the full potential of our provinces.
This deal is the latest in a series of policy moves made in recent months to try and limit the damage caused by U.S. President Donald Trump's trade war by breaking down interprovincial trade barriers. Though a new report out today from a left-leaning think tank argues that the notion that resolving such issues could lead to more than $200 billion in economic gains is pure fantasy. One of its authors cautions the cost of cutting this red tape could result in a race to the bottom for safety and service standards.
I think Canadians need to be wary, and they need to be cautious anytime they see a government saying they're doing something to respond to a national emergency, right?
Meanwhile, one of the authors of the report where the $200 billion estimate originated acknowledged politicians have overstated his estimate.
It's also an estimate that we put forward that represents the maximum possible gains from fully eliminating all of the internal trade barriers in Canada, which so far no government has put anything on the table to actually achieve that objective.
Today, Internal Trade Minister Chrystia Freeland's office said the federal government knows there's more work to do. And that work will continue tomorrow when the ministers responsible for internal trade from each province and territory meet in Quebec City. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
An evacuation order has been issued in northern Manitoba. Wildfires in the area are presenting an imminent danger to the town of Leafs Rapids, 900 kilometers north of Winnipeg. The fires are among dozens burning in the province.
There are 81 active fires burning in Manitoba today. We've had 235 fires to date. The 20-year average for this date is 187. Most of the province has a high fire danger level. We are following 16 fires that are near communities or have the potential to impact communities.
There are currently 7 states of local emergency and 6 communities have been evacuated. In all, more than 6,600 Manitobans have left their homes. Officials say 141 personnel from outside the province are helping fight the wildfires.
A ceremony was held at CFB Trenton to break ground on an $850 million upgrade to the base.
Trenton will be the home of the main operating base east, and we'll see a Husky stationed here with a crew ready to be mobilized at a moment's notice to meet a fighter jet in the air and refuel. This is a new capability for our Air Force, and it's why RCAF leadership selected the Husky aircraft. It will support your missions, enabling our fighter jets to stay in the air longer, extending the range of the aircraft.
Work will soon begin on upgrades to support the arrival and operation of up to 7 CC-330 Husky aircraft. The first phase will include resurfacing the existing runway, aprons, and taxiways. There will also be a new hangar, training facility, and fuel depot. The project was announced in March and is scheduled to be completed by 2023.
In Texas, an urgent search is underway for survivors after more than 100 people were killed in flash flooding. And as CTV's Adrian Gobriel reports, criticism is being levied at Washington for the slow response to the impending danger.
As the search for survivors intensifies, the full scale of this deadly disaster is coming into focus. This footage shares a glimpse of just some of the 850 life and death high water rescues that took place. Hundreds of state and federal first responders and more than a dozen K-9 units are on the ground, including volunteers on foot and horseback.
If it was my babies, I'd want somebody looking, so that's why I'm here.
Dozens of children have been confirmed dead, with another 10 campers and 1 counselor, as of this morning, still missing from Camp Mystic, a Christian girls' camp.
I've lost near friends, best friends, my boss, my godchildren, my house, my car.
The camp, perched along the Guadalupe River, saw floodwaters rise 8 meters in just 45 minutes. 2 hours north in Kingsland, Texas, this time lapse shows just how quickly floodwaters rose.
You know that your child is going to be swimming and canoes and horseback riding and doing archery and making lifetime friends. And then suddenly it turns to tragedy.
With the National Weather Service saying their flood warnings were timely and accurate, questions about weather alerts reached those most at risk remain, with the mayor of Kerrville, Texas, admitting he never received one.
Everyone here, if we could have warned them, we would have done so. And we didn't even have a warning. We did not know.
The city manager of Kerrville asked today why an evacuation order wasn't issued.
It's very tough to make those calls because what we also don't want to do is cry wolf.
An answer that will bring little comfort to those who've lost so much.
With the U.S. president signing a major disaster declaration for Carroll County, Texas, Federal Emergency Management Agency resources have been deployed as ongoing discussions to close down FEMA are still taking place, according to a White House spokesperson today. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Washington.
Meanwhile, Trump is set to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Washington today to discuss a ceasefire deal to bring an end to the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza.
I think there's a good chance we have a deal with Hamas during the week.
Trump says Israel's agreed to a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza and has warned Hamas to accept it. Hamas has expressed support for the framework of the deal, but says there are amendments they want to make before accepting it. Under the current proposal, Hamas would release 10 living hostages in 2 phases, with Israel releasing Palestinian prisoners. Netanyahu stated Israel's goal is to ensure the elimination of Hamas's military and governmental power. The meeting comes as Israeli and Hamas officials are holding indirect talks in Qatar for a second day. Netanyahu says the delegation has instructions to achieve a ceasefire under conditions which Israel has accepted. There are 50 remaining hostages in Gaza. However, less than half are believed to be alive.
Roughly 50 Canadians have been caught in the immigration crackdown south of the border, including one person who died in custody.
The incident has left families shaken, with CTV's Heather Rice speaking to relatives of one woman who remains in custody.
Maria Estela Cano was there the night her daughter was arrested in Florida back in April and has been fighting to get her out ever since.
There is really horrible for her, horrible. You say they punish people for nothing.
Cano says her daughter, Paula Callejas, was arrested after getting into a fight with her boyfriend, who she scratched after he shoved her to the ground. The Canadian designer was living in Florida, where she was building her swimwear business and waiting for her visa application to be processed. After she was arrested, she was handed over to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE. Kalea's mother says her daughter has been moved to multiple detention centers, sometimes crammed 6 people to a cell. She says her daughter's anxiety medication has been taken away, and she worries about her well-being.
She's scared too much. She's scared. And she's saying, Mommy, I'm asking, but please let me go, let me go. Like, why keep her there?
Global Affairs Canada says at least 50 Canadians are currently in ICE custody, though that number fluctuates. At least one Canadian, Jasmine Mooney, has been released. She was held for nearly 2 weeks in March after trying to get her work visa renewed. Last month, Canadian Johnny Noviello died while in ICE custody. His death is under investigation.
And the family says it was the death of Noviello that prompted them to speak out. And while they are able to speak with their daughter multiple times a week, they worry that her mental health is suffering and that she might not make it home alive. Heather Wright, CTV News, Mississauga, Ontario.
Coming up, reflecting on the remarkable journey and what's to come. Masai Ujiri's message for Toronto, the touching tribute still ahead.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, if you're planning to have home renovations done, you have to be careful who you choose to do the work. A Toronto couple hired a company for a roofing job, which ballooned into almost a $500,000 project. All of that story, that's just ahead.
Right tonight for your Monday evening plans. If you have baseball, soccer, perhaps some pickleball on tap, just cloudy conditions. But I think most notable is that it is warm, feeling like in the 30s with the humidity, and it doesn't cool down much between 7 and 9 p.m. We'll tell you what to expect for the rest of your week when we return. Well, there have been warnings from police recently to be careful of contractors offering services for roofing jobs and other home renovations.
While some companies may have glossy brochures and impressive websites, you really need to do your research before paying for their services. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. A Toronto couple had to have some work done on their roof and spotted a contractor working in their neighborhood. The company told them their home was going to collapse if they didn't replace the roof and walls. Within 2 months, they paid them almost $500,000.
It's been very upsetting and scary.
Angelique Davies and Frank Novello are still in shock after being pressured into paying for renovations that will have to be done over again, as well as some work that wasn't needed at all. They have an older home in Toronto and did have leaks in their roof that needed to be repaired. Novello had previously chatted with contractors he had seen in the neighborhood.
This fellow in a pickup truck recognized me, and he knew my first name, Frank. And he gave me a brochure.
The couple asked the company to check their roof in December of last year. The contractor claimed when he saw it, it was a disaster waiting to happen.
The condition of the roof was so terrible that it was going to cave in. They had us feeling very frightened.
They ripped the roof off, leaving their home exposed to the elements. At one point, there were 20 different leaks. The workers then claimed there were other serious problems.
Oh no, there's something wrong with the walls, and these walls will not hold up a new roof, so we have to fix that.
The company also created huge electrical issues in their home and also tried to convince them they needed major foundation work. Over a period of less than 2 months, the couple paid the contractor $480,000. When you look back on the fact that it's $480,000, how do you feel about that big number?
It's breathtaking.
The company they signed a contract with is Thompson Roofing and Construction. Their phone number is no longer in service. Emails from CTV News were not returned, and the address on their website is incomplete. The couple says it hasn't heard from the company in 6 months, and work that was done will have to be ripped up and done again by another contractor.
Rain and melting snow came pouring through.
But has this been repaired after paying all this money?
This has not been repaired yet.
The couple is hopeful they can get back some of their money somehow, but also wanted to share their story to warn others.
I feel frustrated. I'm mad at myself for trusting them.
And when having renovations done, beware of high-pressure sales tactics. Always get multiple quotes and don't pay in advance. And be cautious of companies going door to door. And if you're hiring someone for one job, don't get talked into other work you don't need. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers. You don't pay unless they win.
All right, getting to the forecast, and the weekend was really hot. Today, hot as well, but what I do like is it seems more like seasonal. Yeah, there's a humidex, but at least it's reasonably comfortable outside, especially in the evening.
Isn't it funny how the oppressive heat we had over the weekend makes today feel, it's rather comfortable, but it is still hot with the humidity. And I'll show you the specifics as we head into an all-new July week. Oh, beautiful out there right now. Nothing in the way of rain, which is really nice. We do have some clouds building in, and there is some humidity, but it does feel like a world of difference if you were outside over the weekend, especially, in the mid-afternoon time of the day. Okay, let's have a peek at the numbers right now. 26 degrees in Toronto, but look at that humidity, making it feel like 32. Much the same in other parts of southern Ontario. Tonight's lows, they're actually a little bit above normal. So the low tonight is 20 degrees. Typically, this time of year, you would expect 17. So if you don't have air conditioning, certainly it makes it a tad bit uncomfortable. Just keep that in mind. Now, when you wake up tomorrow, 5 a.m., already 20 degrees and really cloudy to start your day. But there is that humidity, so it's going to feel already at those early morning hours like 27 degrees, 28 degrees. Now, tomorrow, the high, 26 degrees, and the humidity is sticking around, so it's going to feel like into the 30s in Toronto, Niagara Falls, a little bit cooler out London Way and Goderich and Owen Sound. So we're feeling like the 30s, and we have clouds in the mix as well. And I should note, because especially when it's cloudy in the summer, you think, I don't need much in the way of sunscreen. There's a high UV index, so make sure you put it on yourself, you put it on the kids if they're going to camp. Into tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, we have the heat building up, and we still have that humidity, but we also have the threat on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that we might see some showers. But I always like to think 30% of showers, 70% we won't see showers at all. And then it's still early to be looking at the weekend, but it looks to be cloudy at this stage and nearing 30 degrees as well. There's your forecast. We'll have more news now.
Well, dozens of athletes are at risk of missing an Olympic-style competition in Tokyo.
CTV's Beth McDonnell has more on the funding gaps they are hoping to get addressed.
Russell Bowie's passion for golf has led to serious success. Bowie is hard of hearing and has been wearing hearing aids since he was a toddler. He's also the current world deaf golf champion and was a silver medalist at the last Deaflympics in Brazil.
It was an amazing experience, and finishing on a podium and doing well, and was just it was something I'll never forget. But obviously this time there's one more spot, there's one better spot to get.
The next Deaflympics are in November, and this time Bowie hopes to bring home gold. But those dreams could be over for him and close to 50 other hard of hearing and deaf athletes set to travel for the competition if the Canadian Deaf Sports Association doesn't raise enough money.
It would just be a big loss mentally, emotionally, and also just a lot of money has been spent preparing up to this point as well. So to have all that just go away and nothing to show for it would be a shame.
The association says it's trying to raise $100,000, but so far only has $30,000. While Canada has been sending athletes to the Deaflympics since the 1960s, it says the cost of living has risen significantly and traveling to Japan is very expensive. And it's calling on Canadians to help send this year's contingent.
And now the recent development of maybe a funding shortfall is definitely not something you wanted to be thinking about.
Bowie says there's been a lot of excitement to represent Canada in Japan, and he and other athletes will be devastated if they can't go.
Just a really neat, cool, enriching opportunity that, for all of us going, it's something that we love doing, and we do everything we can to be a part of these competitions.
Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
The former president and chairman of the Raptors has posted a message to Toronto on YouTube expressing love and gratitude.
And Masai Ujiri made it clear he's confident that another NBA championship is in the city's future.
To the Raptors family, to our fans, every single player that's worn the uniform with passion and pride, I love you and I thank you. This team has reached the summit once before. With strong leadership in place, the Raptors will continue to climb that mountain back to an NBA title. You will win again in Toronto.
Ujiri insisted the bond he shares with Toronto and Canada will last forever. He says his family built a base here in the city, and it's the only home his kids have known. Ujiri was let go by MLSE last month after nearly 12 years that included the franchise's first championship.
Also tonight, a dino-sized milestone for Scarlett Johansson as her new box office hits puts her atop the pack of highest-grossing actors.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
There's a warning about the rise in health misinformation, in particular from the U.S.
And with the dramatic jump in measles, syphilis, and HIV cases in Canada, experts say accurate, reliable health information is urgently needed. CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan has the details.
Them, sir.
I did not fact check.
You did not fact check. So
this is the week U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is announcing the members of the vaccine panel at the Centers for Disease Control, something the Canadian Medical Association is watching carefully.
There are noted vaccine skeptics among this group who have echoed RFK Jr.'s ideas such as vitamins will prevent measles, such as that, chemical warfare or various other causes are responsible for the current measles outbreaks instead of the virus.
Dr. Shannon Charlebois says Kennedy and members of the panel will determine which vaccines will be funded in the U.S. The Canadian Medical Association says while medical misinformation has been around since the start of social media, the new U.S. administration is causing alarm for some Canadian health experts.
They've defunded the CDC by 40%, and that's quite significant. And what's more significant is where they have cut that funding from.
She points to things like sexual health clinics and the rise in cases of syphilis and HIV.
Not only do infectious diseases not respect geopolitical borders, but neither does mass media.
The article by the Canadian Medical Association says Canada cannot rely on its southern neighbour to monitor infectious diseases, and Charlebois says it's not just measles and syphilis.
Now we have avian flu, which is spread throughout the country in our domestic poultry. It's also crossed to cow herds in the U.S.
It has infected some humans working with the animals, but the fear is that if it mutates to spread from human to human, the effects will be devastating. The CMA is calling for a national vaccine registry as a first step to strengthening our own system and interoperable health records to allow for secure but easier access to health records between hospitals and between provinces.
And there is nothing sadder than a child dying of a completely preventable disease.
And on an individual level, Charlebois says, do question your doctor about anything you're unsure about. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
The latest film in the Jurassic Park franchise dominated at the box office over the 5-day 4th of July holiday weekend.
This would be a medical breakthrough that could save countless lives.
Jurassic World Rebirth opened with $91.5 million U.S. in ticket sales over the weekend, following an early Wednesday opening to take advantage of the 4th of July long weekend. F1, the movie, dropped to second place in its second weekend with $26.1 million across North America.
And the success of Jurassic World Rebirth has launched Scarlett Johansson in the top spot in Hollywood. Films starring Johansson have now earned more than $14.8 billion at the box office. More than $8 billion of that comes from her role as Black Widow in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Johansson passed two of her Marvel co-stars, Robert Downey Jr. and Samuel L. Jackson, to take top spot on the earnings list. After the break, TikTok is pulling the plug on sponsorship. The social media giant prepares to shut down operations in Canada, ending its support of TIFF, the Junos, and other events.
We're pretty excited to see how it's going to be tonight.
Well, concerns for me are the traffic, especially in that area of Wilson and Dufferin.
Updating our top stories, Coldplay set to hit the stage at Rogers Stadium for the first of 4 concerts this evening. Fans are excited about the shows, but area residents have expressed concern about potential traffic issues.
Toronto police have identified the teenage boy murdered over the weekend. 14-year-old Abdulaziz Sarr was fatally stabbed at a McDonald's location in the area of Eastern and Woodward Avenues. Police were called to this location just after 10 p.m. on Saturday. The victim was taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries, where he later died. So far, police have not released any details about possible suspects.
I heard some banging sound, and we were sitting right there, 60 zone. And this guy was doing about 140.
A 36-year-old man is facing a number of charges, including impaired driving, after striking a pedestrian and several parked vehicles last night. 6 people, including the pedestrian, were taken to hospital.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photos, or video of breaking news, let us know. TikTok is pulling sponsorships for several Canadian art institutions, including the Juno Awards and the Toronto International Film Festival. It comes as the platform is complying with a federal order to shut down its Canadian operations. In the U.S., TikTok is reportedly working on a new version of its popular video sharing app ahead of a major sale to a group of American investors. The change would potentially sever the app's connection to China by using a different algorithm, offering a new user experience.
The secret sauce of TikTok is its algorithm, and that really has been at the core of this controversy over these apparent national security concerns that lie at the root of why this law exists in the first place. And so it will not be able to use the algorithm. Chinese government and ByteDance have both said they will not include it in any possible transaction. So literally the guts of TikTok will have to be rebuilt from scratch.
Meanwhile, there is renewed speculation about the future of the platform after U.S. President Donald Trump indicated talks with China on a possible TikTok deal could happen. The company has reportedly developed a plan to launch the new app in the U.S. market in September. Last month, Trump extended that deadline for a 3rd time for TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, to sell its U.S. assets.
After more than 100 years in production, the company behind Jersey Milk says the chocolate bars are being discontinued. The bars were first developed by dairy brand William Nielsen in 1924 and only produced in Canada, but production fell under Mondelez International after a series of acquisitions. The company says the decision to drop the Jersey Milk bar was a result of a drop in demand. However, the company confirmed the move will not result in any job losses.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
Still to come, hitting the links for a good cause. Former Maple Leaf Zach Hyman has returned to the GTA to host the latest edition of his charity golf tournament.
Tonight, navigating a cruise industry boom.
Now we're into like a ship almost every day.
The hotel travels with us, so to speak.
What's making people jump on board as maritime sailing season hits full steam? Later on CTV National News.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Former Maple Leaf Zach Hyman is back in the GTA for his annual golf charity tournament. The event, which is now in its 6th year, sees participants mix with athletes and celebrities, all while raising money for charity. The tournament also features gourmet meals, cocktails, live entertainment, and a silent auction.
It's extremely important. It's extremely important for me and my family. It's very much a family event. And it's incredible to see the amount of volunteers, 6 years, and they keep coming back, and they really make this event happen, and especially all the people who donate and who are playing in the tournament. We have to thank them as well. And yeah, it's been an incredible 6 years, and excited to be back.
The tournament's raised nearly $3 million for a number of different organizations, including Sick Kids Hospital, since it was first held.
A live look outside, and it is a solid summer evening for a stroll, maybe for throwing the football around. Just keep in mind, still warm this hour. If we look at the temperatures right now, 26 in Toronto, but we still have that humidity, so it's feeling like 32, 23 feeling like 29 in Windsor as well. Tomorrow, if you have kids heading to camp, warm to start the day, 20 degrees, 8 a.m., but we do have cloudy conditions, a little more sun, and a little bit warmer by noon, and then by 3 p.m., really looking like the hottest part of the day, feeling like 31 degrees and a little bit more sunshine. So tonight, it'll definitely be a warm evening. Maybe open the windows a little bit and maybe get a tiny bit of a breeze. Into tomorrow, a high of 26, again, feeling like 33. No rain on tap. We do have the potential in the middle of the week. We could see showers Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and still very warm with the humidity. And then looking towards the weekend at this point, looking cloudy and quite warm, but it's still early days. We'll see how it shakes up. That's it for us, but be sure to join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Alman with your next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For all of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.